Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. My name is Tom Tobin, president of the club, and we're thrilled to have you join us today. This meeting broadcast is available on HCTV as well as our Rotary of Hudson YouTube channel. Our club meets weekly at Laurel Lake for breakfast on Wednesday mornings from 7:15 to 8:30. Come out and join us for a meeting. We would love to have you as a guest. To learn more about Rotary, our club, and the impact we're having on our local community and the world, visit our website, rotaryhudson.org. Enjoy the meeting today and help us share the message that Rotary connects the world.
Okay, good morning and welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. It's good to be at a Rotary meeting again. It's always a nice Wednesday when we can do this. Our invocation this morning is by Liz Ramsey.
Let's bow. Dear Heavenly Father, you are an awesome God and Lord of Lords and King of Kings, our eternal God supreme. God, we thank you for the blessings that you put on this group, and we ask you to continue to guide us in everything you do, and we pray for our president, our military, our governors, our leaders, and we pray that they will have wisdom in leading this country. And I thank you for blessing each and one of us in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. And now to lead us in the pledge and the four-way test, Allison Feaster.
Good morning, everybody. We'll say the pledge first. I pledge allegiance
to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is our four-way test. Interesting historical tidbit. It was written in 1932 by Chicago Rotarian, Suzanne's home ground, Herbert Taylor in 1932, and it seems relevant today as it would have been in 1932. The four-way test are the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth? Second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third, will
it build goodwill and better friendships?
Fourth, will
it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. And is Donna, are you going to do a song this morning, or did Phil do that for us on the piano?
I think Phil's was good in the lobby time, and we'll work out the song thing. We're not there yet.
Okay.
Great.
And our president, Tom Tobin.
Good morning, Rotarians and guests. So happy to have you here on this June 30, 2020 Rotary Club meeting of the Rotary Club of Hudson. Hey, I want to first of all thank Phil Tobin for providing our music this morning during lobby time. I know that's a piece that I recognize, Dad, you've had in your repertoire for quite some time. Thank you for playing that. It's kind of fun to be able to keep that, at least that aspect of our tradition going. Usually Phil is out in the lobby while the rest of us are in the dining room, but this time we were able to pull it together. I also want to welcome a guest this morning. We haven't had a lot of guests each week, but this morning we have a guest, Suzanne Morgan, who I think.
Hi there, thank you.
Good morning, Suzanne. Suzanne, you're from the big #1 club in Chicago?
That's right, Rotary One.
Rotary One, the mothership. Suzanne is usually in Chicago, but she's back visiting in Hudson right now. And if we see you around town, please say hello to Suzanne.
Thank you.
Great. You know, we did a check-in, I believe last week with Phil Tobin. Things that are going on in your life since COVID-19, observations that you thought were useful for the club to know. This week, I thought we might hear from Kelly Brennan. Kelly, why don't you take it away? Tell us what's going on in your world right now.
All right, Tom. Well, it's probably a lot going on in everyone's world, to be perfectly honest with you. For those that didn't know, I had retired in the end of January of 2020. And either that was the smartest decision I ever made, or that might have been maybe the dumbest decision I've ever made. We haven't necessarily bared that out yet. But in the interim time, a lot of you probably know I had purchased a home, my son is the tenant, and it needed a lot of work to be done to it. So for the most part, that's where I have spent the bulk of my time. We've put a new bathroom in, and we've remodeled the original bathroom that was in there. Now we're heading to the kitchen. So lots of things to do. Literally, I work harder now than I think I did when I was at work. Other than that, it's just, I think for all of us, it's been a bit odd. I've obviously never been through a pandemic. I'm assuming nobody here has ever been through a pandemic. The issue that happened in Minneapolis, that obviously has spurred a bunch of chaos. I'm still actually an employee, so I still get a whole bunch of crazy emails. So I do know that there was some destruction done to a lot of the office buildings that were in downtown Cleveland. So some people are being asked to stay away from Cleveland. Just kind of goofy stuff that you never would have. I don't think you could have trumped this stuff. Other than that, it's my lawn is now greener than my neighbors. It's mowed more frequently than my neighbors, and he is retired. So I'm ahead of the curve there. Deb's still working, so for the most part, kind of home with the dog, and we have a pretty good relationship. So he sleeps most of the day. Other than that, everything is pretty much the norm. I haven't really experienced in my own world anything that's been that tragically different. I think I moved around systematically. If I had to go somewhere, I'd go very early in the morning. Not too many people were out at that point in time. But nothing's really changed too much in my world. So for the most part, now that the warm weather has arrived, I think it's a little easier for all of us to sort of wind down and maybe take advantage. But other than that, Tom, everything's kind of been the norm.
It's been interesting to learn that Kelly is an experienced person with tools in his hands, and has either the courage or craziness to take on a project like renovating a house like that. Good for you.
You can always hire the professionals to come in and fix what you've screwed up.
You're absolutely right. But they smell your desperation, Kelly. All right. Let's see. Thank you very much, Kelly. That's great. We'll have somebody each week doing a check-in like this. Thank you very much for being a leader on that. Okay. Hey, I wanted to just bring up a few things here. And maybe you've all received this, but I see that Rotary International's convention, which was scheduled or was planned for Hawaii this year, will continue to take place, just not in a more of a virtual sense. And it will be available for all of us to plug into major portions of it. So that'll be June 20th through 26th. Did you all receive, Mimi, I think I saw you nodding your head, so I'm assuming maybe everybody got this as well. If not, look for an email for it. June 20th through 26th. It'll be just like being in Hawaii, I'm sure, but you can have all the snacks you want. You don't have to worry about suntan lotion. All right, let's see. I noted from Rich Warfield that we received a nice thank you note from the Hudson Food Pantry for our recent grant to them. We have a few other grants in the process currently. Our foundation and the club board are working on them. I think we'll be reviewing them at the upcoming club board meeting, which I'm scheduling for June 10th. Again, I'm planning on that to be an early evening event so that we're not cramming too many things in the morning for the folks attending. I will send out invitations for that. Please let me know, though, if you're on the board and that looks like a bad time. Let me know if that. Let me know that ahead of time. So that's June 10th. couple folks have asked me about a comment I made about our ability to get back together physically. And I don't know whether you all saw this or not, but I just wanted to call attention to it. This was something that came from our district governor, which discussed the issue in a little bit more detail. And he goes on to say here that our general liability insurer has noted that the renewal policy that will be taking effect July 1st will exclude coverage for anything related to communicable diseases. So it's not clear if we have that coverage right now, but starting July 1st, it'll be very clear that we do not have that coverage. So he's advising that in the interim, the most prudent course continues to be to follow the April guidance of Rotary International Board of Directors, which strongly discourages in-person meetings or events of any kind through December 2020. It goes on to say, obviously, avoiding any in-person meetings cannot last forever. They talk about, like, if you do need to do something here, they talk about the guidelines that you should follow, the things that you should be aware of. But I just wanted to reiterate, it looks like we will not, unless something significant happens, we will not be physically meeting on Wednesday mornings until January 2021. So this is our world right now. Buckle up and let's enjoy it. Make the most out of it. All right. Let's see. I think at this point, I would like to call on Jim Lang to introduce our speaker this morning. Jim, if you'll take it.
Yep. Hey, good morning, everyone. And thanks, Tom, for the intro. And in the spirit of the calmness that awaits our theme this year, which is summer fun, that is one area that we can participate in as individuals and experience social distancing. But in that spirit, that's why I set myself outside in Lisa's honor, who is our guest speaker this morning. Lisa King is the executive director of Summit Metro Parks. She was appointed that position in September 2015. She's actually the 7th director of the Metro Parks and the first woman to lead the park. As director, she serves as the chief executive and chief financial officer, leading the organization to ensure achievement of its mission, financial viability, growth, and stability. An employee since 1998, Lisa has also served as the Park District's landscape architect and its chief of planning and development. She's a graduate of The Ohio State University, a state registered landscape architect, a champion of sustainable design, and a certified parks and recreation professional through the National Recreation and Park Association. And I also understand that she's an experienced Zoomer, so she is very comfortable with our setting this morning. And please welcome Lisa King. It's all yours, Lisa.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to share my morning coffee with you. If it's okay with you, I've got some slides that I'm going to show to just talk about what's happening here in the Park District. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see here. All right. I'm going to make that full. Okay, so how are we? If everybody wants to give me a thumbs up, that looks good to you. All right, thank you. All right, so I am going to start off. I'm going to attempt to run a very, very quick video. It's 30 seconds, but it's just to kind of get us in the mood. Those of us that aren't sitting outside gym, the rest of us can get a feel for the parks here in just a moment. So I'm going to let this play, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, so that was just to set the mood. I don't know whether the video and the music came across. I hope it did. I always get a little inspired when I see those. So recently we did, well, at the beginning of the year, we had prepared a 30-second, a 15-second, a 30-second, and a 1-minute promotional video. That was our 30-second. And we had not even gotten to the point of rolling those things out when, you know, this happened, the coronavirus. So I am going to talk a little bit about, you know, what's happening in the parks and how in the world are we doing business as normal when we really can't have personal contact with people. So, you know, the obvious change is what we're doing right now. I don't have personal contact with but maybe a couple of my senior staff. This is what my senior staff meetings look like every Wednesday. So these 11 people are, you know, my heads of departments, and this is how we get together. So it's working. For me, I gotta say, I miss those people, but I love being able to see their face. So this is how we are keeping things moving, you know, for our visitors. So we've got, you know, some maybe more interesting ways that we are looking at connecting with our public. So this here is, I'm gonna just highlight 4 of them. So the first thing we had to, you know, really reposition ourselves on was our Mother's Day 5K, which we had really just begun to ramp up communications on and marketing of at the beginning of the year. And come March, we had to figure out how we were gonna do this or if we were gonna cancel one of our longest standing events. I'm going to talk a little bit about our at home in nature series, which we've got lots of very fun things happening. We are finding new ways to partner with organizations so that we can try to continue to make a difference out in our communities. And then the virtual spree for all, which is the newest thing that we have rolled out with some really interesting aspects. So Mother's Day 5K first. So if you can see that, it looks like I'm going to rearrange my ribbon here in a second because it is covering things. Let's see. There we go. All right. So, so our Mother's Day 5K, we had just started to roll it out, and then we had to basically shift gears so that we could get our administrative folks at home teleworking. So we kind of dropped our marketing effort on this, got everybody repositioned from their homes to try to figure out how to keep the park district running. And, you know, once we kind of got settled and came back together, you know, we were talking about, do we have to cancel our Mother's Day 5K? What do we do? So this was our first foray into what does a virtual running event look like and how do you do it? And I actually have a couple of runners on my senior staff. So we were blessed that they had actually already seen other running events moving this way. So what it means is if you want to do the event, you can still sign up. You then do, you know, you basically do the run on your own. So you're socially distant. You do it at your own pace, whenever you want to, between, you know, beginning date and ending date. You know, basically just, you accomplish it in the way that you feel most safe. So if you want to walk, if you want to run, that's fine. If you want to do it all in your neighborhood, that works too. And it really became something that was on the honor system, and people really seemed to like that. So, you know, I think that it was a success. And then the coolest thing I liked about it was we encouraged, hold on, I got to get back here. Whoops, went too far. We encouraged people to send us pictures of how they decided to do their run. And we got pictures like this. This was our most favorite. This was a mother and daughter team that at the end, you know, they high-fived one another in 2 different pictures and stitched them together and sent it to us. And this was, this just made all the difference. It made us feel like we had done the right thing. So that, you know, in a very quick pivot, turned out to be a success. So now we know we can do it. So the biggest thing that we have done is we have changed how we are doing public programmings. How do you do programming when you can't have, you know, close distance to people, and we're not allowed to gather people of more than 10. So there's lots of restrictions. So how do we do that? Well, my programming, that's our community engagement department, they are extremely creative folks. And they came up with many, many ways and are executing some really, really fun things. So in terms of kids being homeschooled to wrap up their school year, and not being able to gather together, parents suddenly became, their teacher, their daycare person, as well as some parents working at home while doing all of that. So we wanted to do something to try to help to keep the kids engaged and give them some things to do. So under this umbrella of At Home in Nature, one of the most successful things we've done is this Backyard Explorers. So we are engaging the kids, and it's a program. It's sort of like it's a summer camp, but it's really summer camp at home because it's in nature at home. So June 15th to July 10th, for smaller kids, K through 5th, we've got free content that's being rolled out on Facebook. Some of it is Facebook Live. Some of it will roll out a scavenger hunt where on Facebook they just click a link and then it takes them to the scavenger hunt page. There's also backpacks that can be purchased, and then I think it's $10, $15. It's not terribly expensive, where you do get a magnifying glass and some activity pages, and then also the little clear lucite bug jar that's got a it's got, a magnifying glass. Sorry, it's a tiny magnifying glass on top, so the kids can put a bug in it and explore it and see it up close. It's also possible to do all of these activities without buying the backpack. We're always keenly aware of making it fair for everyone. Some of our naturalists are extremely talented. This is Ben. He is doing his 15-minute nature programs. Some of them he is doing 2 ways. In English with teaching the Spanish word, and then at the end of that one, he begins it again in Spanish and teaching the English word. So they mirror one another, and so you can get a bilingual little nature program for kids that either speak the language or would like to speak the language. And it's all topics in nature. So we're really pleased to roll that out. This has been extremely popular. This is Danette Rushbolt, and she is our artistic naturalist, and she has done drawing, painting, creative programs at the nature realm for years. Well, we have taken her virtual as well. So she has done programs under this umbrella called Creative Canvas. And the most recent one she did was this, it's sort of a live art, nature art class. And you can either buy the materials, which is easier for some families, or you can get the list and gather your materials first. So always there's that equity issue. But then she does a Facebook Live where she, does the art class and you do it along with her. And that has been a lot of fun. And we're finding different kinds of classes she can teach online. So doing something a little bit different there, even though she can't be right in front of her participants, she can be there in front of them on Facebook. We also have some resources that we're starting to garner, which is, I just called it website resources, but for instance, we've got some how-to guides out there. So we've got some naturalists that are, avid gardeners, and they said, hey, we could do some seed starting guidelines or maybe composting. And so we've got the seed starting guide out there on our website for free. Also composting, we get a lot of people asking me, can I compost this or that? So we've made a little chart here that makes it a whole lot easier, and that you can get for free on our website too. And then we've done some little programs which were a lot of fun. So this was one called Compost Stew, the book. And this is Becca, our naturalist, and she is probably our most fierce sustainability advocate. And she did, this was a very cute program where she had already previously taken a picture of each one of the pages of the book. And then she was live in that little snippet on the right. You can see her. She basically read the book and then the pages would show. And she's sitting right there next to her own personal compost bin, which I thought was really cute. So she talks about composting. And so this was geared toward kids. And the compost stew book is absolutely adorable. I highly recommend it if you've got any young people in your life that might like that book. So also during this time, we have looked for new ways to partner to kind of make an impact on our community. So here's one. We got a sort of a last minute call from the Akron Zoo on World Otter Day saying we've got this live speaking event planned, and one of our two speakers, you know, they had no connectivity or something and couldn't come in to be able to do it. So they said, could you provide us some folks? Well, I've got Janine Kasmer, who's one of our naturalists, and this is Mike Johnson, our Chief of Conservation, both people that know a lot about otters, and was able to kind of step in and fill the gap with the Akron Zoo. And that was a lot of fun. So, you know, we were pleased to be able to partner with them on that. So, you know, the zoo is a great amenity in our community. So we love working with them. Also, we've got two things that we have partnered on with the Summit County Probate Court. And both of them, I think, were just wonderful ideas. So as you know, Probate Court, it really focuses on advocacy for our seniors, our senior citizens, as well as they've got the New Day Court, which is adoption and that kind of thing. But Judge Stormer is a fierce advocate for our seniors in our community. So knowing that there is a large population of seniors in congregate living that found themselves isolated during COVID-19. You know, what a heart-wrenching thing to have someone you love behind glass and not be able to really get close. So they started a card campaign, a card making campaign. And the Summit Metro Parks employees joined in on that. And we were able to pull together a nice group of cards to be able to add to what they were gathering. And just they were really looking for homemade cards. And so we were, we engaged not only kids, but, our adult staff were loving kind of getting into their creative side and creating cards to just brighten the day of some seniors that were really isolated during this time. So we were really pleased to partner with them on that. And then the other thing is a project that we started last year, talking with probate. We wanted to do a big community art project where, throughout the year we would have, when we were at events, we could have people that came by kind of work on something that would end up being put together in a large art installation. Well, that got cut short too, but we thought, what a great way to engage our seniors again. We were hearing that, those seniors that were in the congregate living environments were getting videos and all that they could just watch, but there was nothing active for them to do. And we thought, our Birds of a Feather community art project was perfect for them. So we put together, I think it was 12 or 15 boxes of directions that you see there. And then all those cutout birds are an activity for anyone to color the bird, to kind of decorate the bird. And then we gathered them back up. And then in the end, it will be a very large wall installation. As you can see, it's 3 panels on the right there. And all of these birds will be attached as part of that installation. And what a cool way we thought to really kind of engage them, give them something different to do. And so as we started rolling it out, we had some birds from earlier, end of last year from some of the events, and then now we're able to add more. So I'm really looking forward to that being complete. In the end, it will be an installation in the probate court where the public can see it. So we're really excited about that. So then, last of all, this is Springfield Bog for anybody that's ever been out there. Beautiful morning shot. So now that we know how to do a virtual hiking spree of sorts, this is our first attempt at doing, so we've got the Spree for All, which is our spring hiking spree on our more gentle trails. And that, of course, is early in the year, and then our fall hiking spree, which is later in the year. This one is going to be virtual as well. But what's interesting is we have been, some of our staff have been out with a 360 camera mounted on a helmet, and they are hiking our trails so that we can upload basically that trail hiking experience in a 360 environment. So as you watch the video, you can turn it and you can look at things that are next to the trail. So this is our first virtual hiking spree. And so the first trail that's been uploaded is the Rock and Herb Garden at the Nature Realm. And you can do this whole hike. You will be able to do this whole hiking spree by watching the trails, you know, kind of following along with video if you choose. So, you know, some people may or may not be able to get out. They may or may not be comfortable to get out. And if they're not, they can still do it online. So never thought that we would be able to offer something like this, but we're going to roll out one trail a week. And the first one is the Rock and Herb Garden. All right. So I have another very short video. I'm going to try to roll this one for you too. We have felt very blessed that from the beginning of this COVID-19, we have been considered an essential function. So we have been open the whole time, and we have gotten such wonderful feedback, and the best feedback that I want to thank everyone for is the passing of our levy amongst all of this that's going on. We passed at a 73% rate, and for the first time ever in our history, we had a passing rate from every community in Summit County. And we're very proud of that, and we're really humbled and blessed by that. So we did a quick little video just to thank you, but also you're going to see faces of our employees that have been out there working this whole time, and so you'll get to see some of them too, and it's really a thank you video for them as well. So I'm going to see if I can get this to work, and it's very short. All right, here we go.
Lisa, we're seeing your slide deck and not your video.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. All right, let's see. Thank you, Donna. Okay, I'm going to try to make a switch, and if it, let's see. You know what? It may not work.
You might stop sharing your screen and then start again, and it'll give you an option to choose the YouTube video.
Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Whoop. Okay. All right, now let's see, screen. Yep, okay, here we go. See it now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Wonderful. Thank you. I'm going to remind everyone that I am now unmuting everyone, and you might want to change to gallery view so you see everyone on your screen. And we're going to segue into Q&A. Tom, if you can moderate that, and I'll keep an eye on the chat box. Jay Yard looks like he's got a question. So Tom, if you want to run with that, and I will mute all. When you do ask your question, obviously you want to, or I'm unmuting all. If there's background sound, dogs barking, what have you, if you could mute yourself, that's very helpful for us.
Okay, great. You can hear me now?
We
Yes.
can.
Okay, wonderful. Let me just start myself, I'll take my prerogative here and just mention one thing, Lisa. My wife and I have been to visit Liberty Park a couple times over in Twinsburg over the last month or so. Really nice park, a really pleasant surprise off of Liberty Road. What a nice facility you have there. I'm looking forward to, well, by the way, all we were able to do was walk a couple of paths. Now, one of them was, I don't know the names of them, but one of them I could say anybody could walk. It was, meaning you have, I mean, even probably if you're in a wheelchair, you probably could follow that one path because it's just so easy and so flat and still very nice. The other one was, I think, a new one up in the hills.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
called-
one was a little bit more challenging. And let me, I mean, for me at least, because I had a bad knee and a bad back at the time, but I wanted to say it was so fun to go up and see that because it was so spooky. I mean, the trees and the vines and everything like that. It really was a very kind of unique sort of I haven't seen that kind of a forest around here very often. So it was really great. And then we've walked Wood Hollow in Hudson across from Little Tykes as well, which is a wonderful path. And once again, not very rugged. For the hiker, it's a very manageable walk. So great facilities. But going back to Liberty Park, I'm really looking forward to seeing the buildings that you have there, which were closed off when we went. But are those still closed down?
They are. We're, to be completely honest, the park districts and our buildings really fall in the gray zone in terms of directives from the state. Because really it's not one directional flow. It's really just, it's open like a rec center is, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And, so we kind of like been watching the guidance for rec centers because their gathering areas are closer to what we have. And their gathering areas at rec centers are closed because of that grouping ability. So, if there's not a point of interest, like a front desk or something like that, you can't really control the grouping of people. So we're not in any hurry to get those open until we have some good directive, or they allow the grouping size to be bigger or the distancing size to be smaller. So we want to be very careful. We need to protect our staff as well as our visitors. But we're hoping by the end of the year, I mean, that's the goal, I think.
Looking forward to seeing it and using those facilities. All right, I see, Jay Yard, I think you have a question here about, is there a bird app that identifies the bird by its call? Lisa, would you know that?
You know what, I've heard there's good ones out online, and he named two here, Picture Bird and eBirds app.
Oh, I didn't see that. Yeah, John Adams provided.
Yes.
Yeah.
My question was, does the app actually identify the bird by the call? Now, I use the Cornell Merlin app, and you have to put in the size of the bird and the location and the color and everything. And then eventually you get the calls and you might be able to identify it. I want to hear a bird and have my computer tell me what it is.
There's an Audubon, a set of CDs that Audubon puts out, and it's all about learning how to recognize the bird by the call. So yes, you have, I mean, it shows you the picture of the bird while the bird is calling.
I mean, is that on your iPhone?
No, it's on a CD. But
Well,
I
no, I
don't
hike with my iPhone and
Yes,
be able to
but
do
you
this.
might be able to get from Audubon now, because I haven't taken that route, but check out to see if they have access to that program. Just inquire to Audubon.
Okay, and
Hey,
Lisa, I'm going to say congratulations to what you've done in this area. I'm from Pittsburgh, and we had precious few hiking trails. But here, I get out every day, and usually to a different trail almost every day.
Oh, good for
So
you.
thank you.
Good for you. Yeah, and thank you. My guess is to check out that eBird app.
eBird, yeah.
Yeah, That's coming up, and I'm also seeing Bird Genie as an app that you can kind of point your phone at the bird and tap the record button, and it'll analyze it and tell you what it is.
Oh, cool.
There's an app for that.
Hey, I also want to mention, Jay, I want to mention that on our website, there is, I'm trying to think where it is. Oh, there is a discussion by one of our naturalists, and it's called Dawn Chorus, as in D-A-W-N, and she talks about how in the springtime you hear lots of different bird songs, and that is because they're trying to attract a mate. And so, and she mentions a few of them that have a cute little, like, you know, woo, 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 whippoorwill, or whatever, you know what I mean? And when you say those words over and over, it sounds like a certain bird. So she gives you some hints on a few of them that make it really easy to identify. And they're more, you know, a few of our more common birds. But I'm wondering if maybe in that discussion, if Carol talks about an app you might be able to use.
Thank you.
Sure. Oh, somebody's got it.
I was wondering about that one that Jim Lang had in the background during his introduction. It was, is that why you moved inside to the porch, Jim?
It started raining.
Oh, it did? Okay.
You're not drip dry.
My crows were loud.
Yeah, I have to just say that I'm sitting in front of my kitchen window, and the bird feeders are right outside the window, and there's a female rose-breasted grosbeak that's been very, very busy, and her mate will be by because he comes when she doesn't. They have a nest full not very far from here, so yeah. So there's, you know, lots of ways to listen to the birds.
It's fun to have them right at your window like that. Yeah. That's great.
There is.
Tom, I see a question from Evan.
Oh,
Evan,
yeah.
You want to ask that?
Yeah, Evan.
Good morning, Lisa. Sorry for the typo there. Oops. But so I used to live right by the Gorge Metro Park, so I enjoyed going and walking and hiking through there. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I know, or I believe was in the plans, maybe long term, was to get rid of the dam there. So is there any updates that you could share with us on that?
Absolutely. Believe it or not, nothing has stopped on that project. We are still pushing forward. We still have meetings just like this quarterly with the stakeholders and the consultants that are working on it and the engineers. So we are in construction document creation for the removal of that. So we've got, you know, folks that are working on the funding. We've got folks working on, you know, the feasibility of where we plan to put all the sediment. Where we've got folks working, you know, on where are the utilities, you know, in Cascade Valley, where we're going to put the sediment. So we are working in phase 3 of 4. So the plan hasn't changed. We think that this, so the sediment removal will be first, and then as we begin to draw down the sediment, we will begin munching down the dam. That's kind of how it will work. So that the removal of the sediment could begin as early as late 22.
Where are you going to put it?
So the sediment is going to go at Cascade Valley, along the Chuckery Drive, between the driveway and the river, which is basically an old landfill. So that's where the sediment will be put and kind of molded to look natural, and we'll revegetate it. So it's a lot of sediment. We're working very hard at, you know, what is the method, what is it made of, and can we revegetate it so that it looks as natural as possible. So we're working, my staff is working really hard on it because our conservation and our planning department have really high standards about what that needs to look like. And I think that we're getting there. So we're really excited about the fact that that's made more movement in the last 2 years, 3 years than it has in the whole 20 years I've been here. So it's, you know, it's a real project and it's still moving forward.
So if the sediment removal starts in 2022, how long will that project last?
So sediment removal will last about 18 months. And then the dam removal it's about 8 months, but they're going to overlap. So that's not going to be end to end. You know, sort of like the Brecksville Dam. I don't know that they did sediment removal there though, the way we do. I mean, the dam pool of the gorge is not like any other backwater dam in Ohio. So there's a lot of sediment there that needs to be dealt with so we don't push it all downstream.
Is that path going to be closed till that project is done? You can't get to the stairs.
So you're talking about the
Gorge Trail, right along the trail. You can't, it's blocked at the stairs now.
So the Gorge Trail, High Bridge Trail, and the Chuckery area are all going to be impacted during this project, unfortunately. But in order to get a big project like that done, you've got to, you know, do the best you can to keep the public out and, you know, keep the area safe. And basically they'll be pumping that, you know, through a big pipe from the gorge, which is up high, down to the Chuckery area along the trail. So it's just going to be a pipe laying on the ground. So all those areas will be impacted during construction.
Thank you.
Sure. Let's see.
A question here from David Basel. David, would you like to ask it yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Lisa. First of all, I want to thank Metro Parks for the elevated presence in Hudson over the last 10 years. It's been welcomed. My question, there's a partnership obviously between the City of Hudson and Summit County Metro Parks for the land on Hines Hill Road adjoining Maple Grove Park. I was wondering if you could give us an update on the Park District's plans for that.
So the land which is across the road from, oh my gosh.
The old YDC.
Thank you, YDC. I've got CDC stuck in my head, as you can imagine. Yes, that is the area that we internally call Maple Grove. Do you call it Maple Grove as well?
It joins our current Maple Grove Park, so yes.
Okay, so we call it Maple Grove too. As you know, that property has a lot of covenants on it, so we're very restricted in what we can do, but our plan has always been to do a passive trail park. Right. So we have updated, we are actually in the process of updating the original plan that we did, which was the trail location and a gravel parking lot, you know, very low key, low tech. We had gone out, and because it's been a number of years, wetlands have grown and the trail location no longer makes sense in a few places. So we've updated the plan after my staff went out and ground truthed where everything was supposed to go. So the plan has to go back through the EPA for approval of, you know, new location of trail, and maybe the parking lot, you know, got shifted. I'm not sure exactly everything, but it's moving, and that's something that we would like to install. You know, over the years, just priorities shifted and all that, and certainly we know that Hudson, you know, was looking forward to that. So we, you know, wanted to keep it moving. So now it is moving, albeit slowly, it's moving. So we plan to do that. Once we know, when we get an approved plan back from EPA, we like to get with the staff there in Hudson and just go over it all, make sure it all makes sense to, you know, your staff as well as our staff. So that's where we are with it. We're moving it, but it's going slowly.
Not all on your timeline. When you get into the EPA, you know, you don't control all the timing. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Okay, any other questions for Lisa? Okay, it looks like that might be it. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for being with us this morning. And we really do appreciate all you're doing with Summit Metro Parks. It has been good for Hudson and for Hudsonites visiting other parks in other communities as well. So thank you very much, and appreciate you getting up this early this morning to be with us.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure. We sure enjoy being, you know, a presence in Hudson.
All right, folks, anything else for the good of the community this morning? Any other comments? We have a few minutes. Anybody want to share anything?
Jim Lang, can you tell us who we're going to have next week as a speaker? I know you're the
good idea
guy.
Yeah, let's see. Next week we have it's either the marketing. We're still deciding which one, or maybe both people will speak. But it's from the Holden Arboretum, And they are going to talk about all the advances that they've been making there and their exciting journey. And then the week after that will be someone is from the Wilds down in Cumberland, Ohio. It's a beautiful facility that's a part of the Columbus Zoo. And Jack Hanna was a guy that I initially had some contact with to set that up. So I think we got 2 really exciting weeks in a row of following Lisa's presentation of summer fun.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Hey, Tom, do we have a foundation board meeting after this?
You know, I don't know about that, Dan. I'm not aware of it. Matt, are you on, or would anybody else know?
Hey, Tom and Dan, usually it's the following week after the club meeting that we have a foundation meeting. So since this is the first Wednesday in June, I would probably guess in a couple weeks.
So we're going to have the club board meeting on the 10th. So that's next week. And then maybe the week after that is my guess.
Speaking as your Zoom flight attendant, if you're looking to use this platform, I need someone to let me know so I can block off time for you.
Understood. And let me mention again how grateful we are for Donna for providing all this support for our ability to have these meetings. She's been extremely generous with her talent and resources here to make this happen.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Donna. Hey, just let me ask a question so I understand, Bill Woldridge, I understand that you're moved into Laurel Lake now, but I heard you say that you've had visitors. Does that, I'm curious, does that represent a change in things? Okay.
No visitors from the outside.
Well, we had David Oster in yesterday who talked to us a lot about Laurel Lake, so that was interesting.
Okay. So visitors from folks within Laurel Lake then. Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, they've got us, we're not quarantined, but they don't let a lot of people in here.
Okay.
Laurel Lake is trying to figure out a way to comply with the governor's order about the opening up of assisted living facilities for structured visits. And my understanding is that there will be appointments for the people from assisted living, and all of the meetings have to be outside.
Okay.
On the grounds. But those are going to be very structured, and at this point in time, there's no plan, although a lot of desire for it, but there's no plan for independent living to have visitors on campus.
Okay.
We can leave. We're no longer in jail, but we can't have visitors inside.
So you can leave, but when you come back, is there still the quarantine?
Temperature, we're self-monitoring right now.
Okay.
So we have to check symptoms. They check your temperature and ask you all the questions when you come back in.
Okay.
And then there's a full-size piece of paper. You go down the checklist to assess your status each day. And if either Bill or I go over to the big house, when we walk in the door, we have to have our temperatures taken.
Okay.
So.
Well, thank you for that update. That's I think it's helpful to know what's going on throughout.
Tom?
Yeah, Ron, please.
Since we've got just a couple of minutes, and since we're going to hear about the Wilds in a couple of weeks, just a little bit of background on that property. I was working for Bucyrus Erie back in the 1970s, and American Electric Power bought from us the largest earth-moving piece of equipment in the world, 220 cubic yards, the Big Muskie. I was there for the initial startup of that machine. 6 months later, because nobody had ever done anything that large before, the front of it started to crack. And so it was shut down and a bunch of rework done. And then I was back down there on the restart. So the Wilds is now what was once nature. and then was a large open pit coal mine, and now is back to nature in a wonderful place to visit. We did, 10 of us, 5 couples, took the entire lodge one night down next to a pond, and you've got several bedrooms. Everybody has their own bathroom. It's just a wonderful place to be. So just a little background on the property.
John, Ron, is that the piece of equipment that John Schrodel dealt with?
No,
Okay.
his was a shovel, which was a 110 cubic yard shovel.
Okay.
The silver spade, which was one of 2 machines of the same size. But yes, he dismantled that and shipped it to China for remelting.
Yeah, this was a guy that.
The Big Muskie, they wanted to turn it into the museum.
Yeah.
But because of all the machinery and everything inside, there was no good way to make walkways and stuff for people. So the machine was dismantled and sold for scrap, but the bucket still exists down there in a mini park. So you can go visit it. They've got a few links to the chain. Each link in the chain that pulled that bucket weighed a ton. Just to give you an idea, it's about the size of 4 2-car garages piled on top of each other. The bucket.
How many wheelbarrows is that?
3 or 4.
So there's a little history.
The same scale.
Yeah, my goodness. My goodness. That'll be interesting to hear about. We're looking forward to that. All right, folks, any other comments for today? I see the sun is out now. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll get some more rain today. We'll get some more clouds, but let's enjoy the sun. Let's get out there and walk the parks, experience nature, get a snoot full of allergens, which is what I've been doing lately.
Pine pollen is alive and well.
Oh my! When I saw that, you had that one picture, Lisa, of a field of yellow flowers, and I mean, I had to go off screen to blow my nose during. All right. Hey, thanks everyone. We will see you next Wednesday morning, and be well, be safe, and have fun. Be kind to each other. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Donna.